this turn.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to We Play Games. Here we are in Age of Wonders 4 with a fun little skirmish between NinJew and WinSlaya. So NinJew here is going to be playing on the south side in our blue. NinJew is playing as, like, Reavers. It looks like he's going to be trying to specialize a lot in Magelocks, and as, you know, you might be inclined to want to do in the upcoming patch. But here, NinJew might actually have some good tricks up his sleeve, because he does have access to the ability, because he's got double Magelocks, to potentially have them, like, cover each other's flanks. But the biggest thing for me here, looking over these factions, is that NinJew has 2 support units, which gives him some really nice scaling opportunities in terms of using the defensive mode, the warding, and specifically these are chaplains. Chaplains have the ability to do massive amounts of extra damage if you have something like a Zephyr Archer or a Magelock to do some real damage. Very, very heavy range core here, as you might expect. And then on WinSlaya's side, we have a Primal without a single support unit. This is really weird. This is going to be really exciting to see how it goes, because WinSlaya without a single support unit means he doesn't have, you know, like, killing momentum here for Tome of Vigor, but he also isn't playing with beasts. So WinSlaya, what was the decision behind no Tome of Beasts here?
The decision was I wanted something else for my tier 1s. Let's see. I thought I'd get more evolution units in the long run.
Yeah.
But even without it, look at my Dawn Defenders.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not that this is gonna be the protectors. Yeah, 120 HP, 10 defense, 6 resistance. These are gonna be really beefy protectors. I'm just surprised that we're seeing, you know, like, high tier units, but not a single wild speaker, or for that matter, a single support unit on your side. This is a very brave decision for you, for sure.
Not gonna work.
But given that WinSlaya is on Primals, he is going to have access to the summon spell for creating more units if he so desires it. This is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out either way. Oh, it looks like WinSlaya is also playing with... Okay, yeah, he's also on Tome of Artificing. So he's going to have double of these Iron Golem assistants. Iron Golem assistants, you know, obviously not, like, particularly powerful units, but because they do pick up all of the enchantments here, this is some extra damage here.
Why is there
really spicy.
Are you not immune to poison, Plague Serpent? I don't think he's immune to poison somehow.
Yeah, I don't think it is immune to poison. I mean, it does have the blight resistance, which will, like, it's natural blight resistance, so it will actually reduce the amount of damage off of poison, but I don't think it is immune naturally.
Well, he gets to be wet a turn longer. That's cool.
Alright, yeah. Everybody's gonna take tons of extra lightning damage on this map. It's gonna be really crazy. Oh my god. Doubly so here on NinJew's side because of the presence of Lightning Torrent, reducing the lightning resistance on a pretty meaningful part of his core. So you can see here, like, his ruler for NinJew's side, for instance, is already at -5 shock resistance between the Lightning Torrent and the wet. Very, very dangerous, because it does give WinSlaya some pretty big opportunities to exploit that elemental weakness created by playing with Mire Crocodiles. Because today we are, you know, like, allowing people to play on their preferential terrain if there's only one player who has it. And WinSlaya does have one of the better options when it comes to lightning damage here. Thunderclap on Thunderbird is actually really dangerous because of the displacement and the ending defense mode. This is a great way to pick off units if you can keep the Thunderbird around.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that then.
Oh, and WinSlaya also is playing with Crowbow, of course. So WinSlaya actually has a full 18 here between the 2 extra free units and then the one here. Everything is a trap. Just assume that no matter what's going on, everything is a trap and just charge straight at the enemy. You know, like Princess Mononoke style.
That's my strategy. Don't give it away yet.
Oh man.
He is the forest of animals, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like the real strategy here is just become a gigantic blind boar, charge recklessly at your opponent, and die gloriously, or become an evil demon with, like, worms and stuff. Yeah.
Real life.
Oh, hey, and I'm guns too.
Yeah, you've guns too. Oh my god, this is it. We did it. Wait, where's the giant wolf? Oh, goddammit, WinSlaya, I told you to bring a white wolf. Why are you doing this to me?
He didn't bring a giant boar either.
You know, if you squint, though, mammoths and boars are basically the same thing. They're big and they have tusks.
I would
the
accept
same.
that if these mammoths were not all on ranged units.
Wait. We can fix this. What if we set it to like very, very, very low graphical settings, and then this is like a couple of pixels for each one. Done.
It's true.
This is going to be really interesting, though. Like, I will say that one of the things that I'm looking forward to on the new patch for the that we saw out of the dev stream is that these low-quality units, or rather low-tier units, that are kind of high quality, that have some really interesting things. Like the Slither hatchling here has 3 models. That's really important in terms of keeping their damage output relatively high. And boy, good lord, single model entity protectors. This is like, I'm terrified of the possibility of single model entity Phantasm Warriors out of Tome of Vigor, but we'll see if the game actually ends up going that long in future multiplayer games. I'm really excited to see how Barbarians play out, because I think access to Ritual of Alacrity is going to make their game just like basically unbeatable in the early game. And then it's a question of what tools do people have to survive, and if they can outscale Barbarians on Ritual. We'll see. I mean, it's conceivable also that they'll roll back some of the decisions that they've made in terms of, like, leaving Ritual the way it is. Because I know that some mods have actually pulled it down, and it's been better for game balance. Like, if Ritual Alacrity only healed you 25% HP and replaced, like, half of your missing movement points, it'd be a lot more balanced, I think. What else do we see here on NinJew's side for good frontline tools? This is going to be a build also that presumably is going to get a lot better on the new patch, because like anything that's going to make your mercenaries even more bulky is going to give you a lot more serious frontlineage. And I think that's like almost entirely good for everybody. We'll see how folks adjust to the potential new meta. Phantasm Warriors though. These are gonna be nonsense. Oh my goodness. One of the great tools for WinSlaya also is that he is on double evokers, so he does have tons of ways to do lots of damage to low tier units, and because these are battle mages, they're gonna have some pretty serious range advantages over these guys here. Kidsin, we will see. The auto resolve for Magelocks looks like it might actually be a lot better on the new patch, because they've reworked the way Magelocks have operated. If you didn't watch either the dev stream or like the stream that I did yesterday, kind of like going over the dev stream, but yeah, this is Skirmish, so this is just going to be. I mean, honestly, this is still going to be a situation where we're going to see NinJew like trying really hard to get value out of the Magelocks. They're better in manuals, but in manuals against another player, they are still kind of in the same position where they struggle a lot most of the time. Same as with autos. But with autos, like, I don't know. Like, the Magelocks look like they have a lot more tools available to them in the new patch because of the way that they've reworked the attack here for Magelocks. We were not going to be able to show it off here because we're playing on Skirmish and, like, a regular build. But they've changed the attack for Magelocks to be a single AP, and then also to have, like, and very low accuracy. In a 3-action leave 1 like setup thing that gives you a bunch of extra accuracy for that attack. But if you have like a Spring Fairy or whatever, and not a lot of units, then the Spring Fairy actually, even in auto, will do a pretty good job of targeting your ranged units. And so if they're in the same stack especially. So I think that if you can find ways to modify your accuracy on the Magelocks early on. Oh, and no, Keen-Eyed is actually still at 2 AP, but 2 cost, but something else got reduced to 1. I think it was Mount Masters, which doesn't really help Magelocks, but is really interesting. So Douglas, he says, in your experience, Wild Speaker and Hero Summons and Auto Resolve has always seemed pretty poor. So Wild Speakers in Auto Resolves, I think, actually are very good, but you do need to have, like, 1 or 2 big animals for them to support. You don't want to be having them, like, trying to use Killing Momentum on their summoned, like, tier 1 unit. That's just not very good in terms of generating value for you. But if you have, like, 1 Wild Speaker, 1 pretty solid animal, and then just like some random units in a stack, the Wild Speaker will like prioritize giving the killing momentum to that random animal. And even if you're just using like a warg or a razorback, then the auto resolves will go up way high, especially for like a faster ranged units like that. But even if you just like give killing momentum to a Thunderbird, even if you're not getting like insane extra value in terms of auto resolves, because the AI won't always know how to use. Oh, Princess Mononoke. This is the showdown, right? This is the battle between. What's the name of that old boar?
I don't remember.
Oh man, Soko. I think it's a Soko. Let me look this up.
Princess Mononoke is a great movie, but I sadly do not remember the names of most of the characters.
I mean, I remember Moro because she's the best, because she's the giant wolf.
Well, there's the princess and
Okoto is the name of the San is the name of the what? San? Yeah, Okoto is the name of the giant boar. And then Lady Eboshi is the person who like works with the emperor sort of. But it's not, Douglas, it's not just leaning on killing momentum, it's also trying to manipulate the way that your AI works. So it's just like with necromancers. If you have necromancers right now and skeletons and a whiteborn hero all in the same stack, then the necromancer AI can just like target kind of whatever it wants to with the haste effect. But if on the other hand you only had one necromancer and one hero with whiteborn in the same stack, then that haste would always go to that one hero. So that way you're not wasting the value. That probably is still going to be true in the new patch, because although skeletons look like they're going to have a lot more scaling opportunities, heroes are still just like the best. But I think in this case, if you're trying to use wild speakers in autos, just give them something powerful, but only one or two things that are powerful for them to target with their Unleash the Beast thing, because then they won't get confused. Also, hero summons, as an aside, summoning generally right now in auto resolves is kind of tough because the AI doesn't have like great logic on that. And so if you're going to be using like summon skills on your heroes and whatnot, just be aware that there's a non-zero chance they don't ever use it and you're just getting affinity. Like it doesn't make them bad in autos, it just makes them risky in comparison to something like Mana Unchained or Rallying Blessing, where you just like know you're going to get value out of it every single time because the AI loves using buffs and is very shy about using summons. Yeah, the Eldritch, like a lot of the stuff, Professor Pone, on the new DLC and the new patch look really promising. It does look like the game is about to get like a lot more aggressive with a focus on lower tier units. But given that we've been playing Skirmish so much, I feel
plus 3 HP per rank.
Yeah, I think
plus. Wait, what? You're never going to take Draconic Vitality. Like, in comparison to 10 HP per rank, plus 3 HP per rank is just, like, noise, basically, in terms of survivability. And because, like, the way that the math on survivability works, like, you want to have a good combination of lots of HP, but also lots of defensive scaling. And because now you have lots of HP just going to every single unit, the best way that you can stretch those HP and make them go the longest, if you have like 120 base HP, is to just add defense and resistance, not 10 or 15 extra HP on top.
No, I think we should ask about Draconic Vitality in the next stream. One of us should try and see if they've changed it, because I have a feeling they might have considered that. That seems like a pretty logical place to go to after you're saying everything's going to have more HP. Oh, what does this thing that give a little bit of HP do now?
Yeah, like I don't know how to balance that also, because like if they make it way too powerful and interact with heroes, then it's going to be an issue. It's tough. The Eldritch Shadow Demons also are really interesting for me, just from a game design standpoint, because of your ability to recruit them if you're interacting with the dwellings. So if you get friendly enough with them, then you can recruit them from the Rally of the Lieges. And if the whole world is going to be focusing in on lower tier high quality units, then I think that there's a really good space for those Eldritch Shadow Demons to like spill out into the real world using Rally and conquering things. So the new Mystic changes, I think they're really interesting. I think out of all of them, the one that I'm most hesitant to endorse, because I want to see how it actually plays in practice, is potential, simply because any sort of casting is tough to rely on the auto-resolve, but I suspect that there are probably ways to manipulate it by, like, getting double-tag spells a lot and trying to help the AI get in that direction. But the other two Mystic cultures look really, really good. The summoning could be, like, one of the best in the game, potentially, depending on the way that the game actually, like, comes down to it in terms of speed, because if you can just get legend rank Phantasm Warriors or, you know, evolve all of your animals really, really fast, then it sounds like it would be pretty impressive. And then, of course, like, the attunement, considering that they can transform Astral Echoes into casting points, I think is kind of cannibalizing the space that was supposed to be created for potential, because, like, I was trying to come up with a way to get good value out of potential, and then I'm like, if you're just going to be casting a lot of world map casting, the best way to do it is probably just take, like, Evocation and then just chuck a bunch of lightning torrents off of the extra Astral Echoes. And the best undead counter, just anything that lets you eat corpses. 99% of the time, if you have, like, ritual cannibals, or if you have devastation to blow up corpses, or supreme magic to blow up corpses, or just enough units to just stand on the undead, then as long as you're not trying to fight them with blight and cold damage specifically, you'll actually be in a pretty good spot. If of course you also have fire or spirit, that's better. But if you're fighting them with things that they aren't resistant to, and you have the ability to deal with their corpses, so that way they can't use them as resources, then you actually should have a pretty favorable fight against undead until they get Reapers. But unfortunately, if you've let your undead opponent get to the point where they have, like, massed Reapers, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Like, I don't really have a whole lot to tell you there, other than look for things that Reapers will not be able to one-shot. Outside of that, you're kind of on your own, kid. It's pretty spooky. So this is actually really interesting for WinSlaya, because the fire damage here on the Phoenix is going to be seriously reduced actually by the wet thing here. You know, 4 fire resistance on these guys between the wet and the magical wards means that, yeah, so potential doesn't even get echoes. I was hoping that potential would have, like, a way to, like, really power through casting lots of world map casting because of the target on arcane inspiration, but because they don't have a way to get extra world map casting points early, I'm hesitant to endorse them. And then they also have the issue where, like, if you're trying to get the AI to cast the same sort of spells over and over again in tactical combat, you have to be really careful about balancing these things. It's potential does. We'll see. Potential looks like the worst of the bunch, but I want to try all 3 of them because I've always liked Mystic. They've just kind of always had some issues, and it looks like probably a non-zero number of those issues are being addressed in less than 3 weeks.
Did I just make that guy go wet? I think I did. God damn.
Yeah, everybody's got lightning damage here though. So I guess these golem assistants are probably just gonna be like a one-shot, strip somebody's retaliations and then die. But even that's, like, a useful thing. Like, if you've played Hero of Might and Magic, yeah, Eldritch Sovereign, that's one of the things that I tried to highlight in my, like, review of the dev stream was that I do think that the Eldritch Sovereign has the potential to dethrone Wizard King as, like, the strongest of the ruler types right now. We'll have to see how that actually works in practice, but because the Eldritch Sovereign has, like, air quotes, more casting points between level 3 and level 6, and might probably also have more casting points between, like, level 6 and level 8 or 9, depending on the way Eldritch Influence 2 works, I think you're right on the money. Like, it is not impossible that the Wizard Kings remain, you know, busted beyond all belief, because they are very powerful right now. But if the Eldritch Sovereign can keep pace with the Wizard King and kind of, like, get ahead of it in terms of casting in the early game, then it can, like, kind of give those casting points back in the mid game, as long as it doesn't fall woefully behind on research. And then the power of the Eldritch Sovereign as an actual unit in terms of what it does for you. It doesn't scale off of equipment as well as, like, a normal ruler type would, you know, same with, like, dragon rulers and the like, but unlike dragon rulers who can't equip most of the different things, the the Eldritch Sovereign can equip basically everything except for mounts and feet. So if you wanna make them, you know, rock and roll in the early game, you probably want to play with athletics. But if you're playing with mystics, you probably want to play with athletics anyway. It's, I think, really, really good on mystics. I've been very impressed with what it does in terms of your early game clearing. And then, you know, if your Eldritch Sovereign also has abilities that actually create good value for you in auto resolves, and because they reworked Insanity to like preferentially attack their own friends, Insanity just got a lot better for auto resolve, especially on like really long range attacks. And yeah, I think it does make Chaos just generally probably a lot more viable, simply because there are a lot fewer ways to get lots of high quality like high tier units early on in the game. I imagine we're probably going to see a lot more people trying to rely on Rally of Lieges, but Chaos 1 has always been good if you needed to, like, you know, get the game done by turn 30 or whatever. And that might be the universe we are heading towards. It might be. I'm gonna guess that it's probably still gonna remain a function of, you know, the interaction between how many players you have and how big your map is. The bigger the map, the more players, the more you're going to have to use knowledge. But I am both excited and concerned that 4-player games may devolve into who just gets the best legendary tier 1 and tier 2 units by like turn 25 or 30 or whatever. Yeah, Mind Control and Dominate have been broken into two different things. I think that's great. Dominate is just like a lot more rare, and so you can get around it, and then Mind Control, being able to actually level up your units is really good.
I remembered when I made my
skipping out on EXP was miserable, and I understand that they wanted it to be balanced, but the experience points are one of the most important things in the game right now. Right now they're concentrated mostly on your heroes if you can do it, but given that it looks like everyone is going to want experience points very, very soon, yeah, I'm really, really happy that they made that change to Mind Control, and I'm hoping that means they also made that change to Subdue off of Reavers, but they did not highlight that in the stream, so that might be one of the issues with Reavers remaining that would cause people to not go in on it. This is going to be really dangerous here, actually, for NinJew this turn, because he's going to probably be forced to engage with WinSlaya. WinSlaya does have like a pretty meaningful advantage in terms of ranged tools. He has a lot of battle mages, and I don't think that there's a single dedicated battle mage here out of NinJew. No, it doesn't look like it. And that doesn't, like, you know, there's no rules of engagement here where somebody has to attack if you have battle mages, but given that battle mages have these really long AoE attacks, from a game standpoint, if you don't engage your battle mages, you're gonna die pretty badly.
Just damage here helps me.
This is really interesting. This is really interesting. And we also, of course, have the Ancestral Wardens. These ones might actually genuinely be fantastic in the new patch, depending on how quickly you can get them. Because that is the other way, like, around people who have just like lots of high-quality, low-tier units, is if your economy can support getting a Town Hall 3 in multiple cities and some draft, like, really, really fast. And Dune Serpent, I think, actually does have a pretty good route to that, especially if you lean into like Tome of Zeal or something like that, where you can use the extra gold to build things extra fast. That there is a space there for Primals on the new patch, probably, but summons are gonna almost certainly be a lot worse. They're already kind of sketchy, but if nobody has any unit ranks on their summons, and everybody has like 3 unit ranks and 30 extra HP on all of their units on turn 25 or whatever, summons are gonna be pretty sad. Fortunately, the Mystic summoning, you don't have to rely on in-combat summons in order to get good value there, but it does look like in-combat summons just got like the Nerf bat thrown at them.
Alright, I've decided. I'm wasting a spell here.
You're wasting a spell here? You did it. Oh my god.
Wow.
That's gonna be like no value, I know. Alright, your turn.
Okay.
Wasting a spell?
I mean, actually, there's no
Gonna get a lot of value
AoE healing here on NinJew's side. He does not have access to a like mass rejuvenation effect. He doesn't have an AoE. Does he have an AoE here? No, he has heal and restore. So yeah, he doesn't have any way to like efficiently remove all of this. But of course, like throwing spells at low tier units that don't remove models is not really where you want to be. Yeah, I didn't get a single model off of that fulmination, it looks like. I mean, it is still a body, Professor Pone, and I think that it is going to be impactful in early game auto-resolves, but in sort of like a PvP scenario, right now, Primals have a really big power spike whenever they get their summon, like, spirit animal, whatever, online, but if you don't engage when you have those tier 2 units and your opponent is on mostly tier 1 and tier 2s and it gets to the point where they have tier 3 units, then your units just kind of drop off a lot. And because the tier 1 units are going to be collecting enough experience points that they can potentially get all the way up to tier 3, unless they do something to meaningfully buff them, they're going to be kind of relegated to only useful in manuals versus the AI, which is where definitely some mechanics unfortunately fall. We'll see. Like, it's difficult to shoot from the hip whenever it comes to these sort of things, but we know a lot of the mechanics are changing, and unless they've done something to buff, like Spirit Wolves or whatever, like, they're just... in comparison to this universe where, oh my god, no. He's just gonna auto-kill this thing?
No, don't do that.
It's just like, it's not even a question of like, well, you get extra actions and stuff. If you summon a Primal Spirit and your opponent has a legendary Phantasm Warrior, you're not getting extra action efficiency there. Your legendary Phantasm Warrior on your other side is probably going to demolish your Spirit, whatever, in 1, maybe 2 attacks. It's really scary. Uh-oh. Oh, indeed. Oh my god.
Look at that.
There it is. He's going to delete that evoker. So that is a good early engagement there for NinJew, but it did cost him his casting points.
Good job, NinJew. I got 2 close.
And...
I even forgot to precast Bless. Oops. Missed out on some stacks.
What's his damage?
It's just Magelocks. He was able to pull
yeah.
guys into range.
He's got Tome of Winds, so he just abducted and blasted.
That seems like a pretty good strategy. That seems like it might work here, like pretty well actually.
Yeah, if you can pick off the most important parts of your army, then that would be a big deal. Although, you know, one evoker, it's good for him to remove. I don't think is as game breaking as it could be, but you know, that was a good initial engagement for you, I think.
I don't think I've really paid very much for doing that.
No,
yeah, like literally that was just casting points, and that was roughly the same amount as the fulmination, which did cosmetic damage. Yeah, the Magelocks changes do sound really promising, Professor. Like, I remain kind of skeptical on Reavers generally, because like their economy around war spoils is still kind of complicated in terms of getting good value. It might be easier to get good value off of them in the new patch if you can like be a lot more aggressive towards free cities. But there's some macro problems with Reavers, but the new Magelocks do sound like they're going to be a lot better for both manuals as well as auto-resolves, especially if you can do something to really buff their accuracy, because the one AP shot, even if it just grazes with this amount of damage, in the beginning of the game is going to be very, very good. These are obviously a little buffed because of those chaplains, but this is still going to be an outrageous amount of damage, even if you just graze.
Unusual thing, I would think, for a Magelock build, but I think this is actually better. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think largely most people aren't playing with Reavers, period, and so it's always surprising to see them, and you don't really have I don't think you should have a lot of priors about which one you should lean into. Like, I think Tome of Winds has gotten so much better to the point where it might genuinely be competitive with Tome of Glades, like just naturally, because of the ability to like move really fast on the strategic layer, and the access to the good tactical spells. But we'll see what the world looks like in the future. So the current best auto resolves PvE, Swerve, are kind of it really depends on how detailed you want to get whenever it comes to looking at your auto-resolve results. The things that perform generally the best in auto-resolves are having like stacks that have access to buffs and healing, because the AI is really good at using those, or at least very proactive at using those, and then mostly durable units that reinforce each other. So that means that like barbarians and industrious and high, because high at least does have durability and lots of extra damage, tend to have the best sort of auto resolves. Mystics can get some pretty good auto resolves right now, as we demonstrated in our most recent build, but I do think that their auto resolves are meaningfully worse. And then everybody else, like, they just don't have the tools that the AI generally uses right now. At least they don't have the tools that are the same quality. But because of the dramatic changes to the rank rework and the way drafting is going to work and the way summoning is going to work, it doesn't really matter what the best auto-resolve is right now for PvE, because the universe might be different. If you want to look for things that are useful for auto-resolve and easy to use right now, then I would just like check out the general Industrious build. But I do want to stress, and not like to discourage people to watch the videos, you can watch them right now and learn how the game works, but I don't know how different the game is really going to be in 3 weeks, because it looks like it might be an entirely different game. And that's exciting. That's fun. That means that all of the skirmish that we've been doing here is going to actually be useful, because it's all, oh my god, he did it.
Fascinating.
He berserked his phoenix.
I did it. Will I regret it? Yeah,
Probably.
Definitely.
Zombie auto-locks the definitely. Oh no, is WinSlaya not going to be close enough to get into this group? Uh-oh. Yeah, this is valuable to start pinning down the Dragoon, but it's like one tile too short on the Ancestral. He wanted to get right here, which he would have gotten to if he'd taken Athletics instead of Mammoths, but he wanted the extra survivability on all of his low tier units, I suppose.
Lots of people could have.
I think what WinSlaya wanted to do was just allow NinJew to do that pick one more time if he really wanted to, and pull somebody in and kill him, and take this turn to set up his battle mages that he still has remaining. Without doing that, and just like committing over here, now WinSlaya is sort of like locked into trying to do his best to deal with these units, or he's gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Does he have evolution here for rapid evolution? Yes, he does. So they do have slip away. That's going to be pretty annoying, but given that the Slither hatchlings are still on the old scaling in terms of HP and only recruit rank, they're not going to last forever.
Does amplified arrows not apply? Where's my bounce?
Where is your bounce?
You got bounces earlier, I thought.
I get bounces on my Zephyr archers, but not on my Magelocks.
3, 1, 2, 3. Was there definitely somebody in range for the amplified to splash onto?
I mean, you can see it right now. It's not.
Yeah.
Ancestral Warden and Phoenix are 2 hexes apart. 1 hex apart. Yes. 2. There's 1 hex between them. They're within 3 hexes.
Oh my god, you're right. Magelocks are not working with amplified arrows. Oh, this is a bug that has been reported and dealt with a couple of different times, and then reappeared a couple of different times. I guess we should try to remind Triumph before the patch drops, because yeah, that's no bueno.
That's very bad for me.
Yes, that is. I do apologize.
That means it's very good for me. Wait, yes.
Oh no, something's good for WinSlaya.
Yeah, no, I think I'm basically throwing this match already. I'm already like, I can kill 1 unit. This is not efficient. Why did I do this?
You can do it, WinSlaya. Just believe in yourself. I think WinSlaya needs to just like go for it at this point, because fortunately, because NinJew has relatively limited options in terms of his AoEs, he can afford to keep his units relatively clumped and stacked around things like his protectors. Does what work?
Removing Berserk with Restore.
I'm pretty sure it does, because it counts. I'm pretty sure it counts as a debuff on your own dude.
I think I found a solution to my potentially giant misplay. I need to not be stupid and waste his turn next turn. She's just gonna walk away from him.
Well, again, if you're looking for things that auto just generically really well swerve, just get like high quality low tier units and then get experience points on your heroes and get good equipment on your heroes, and then everything else can just kind of like follow along with them. Right now, like the delta between like a legend rank tier 1 and a champion rank tier 1 is pretty small at the moment, and so most of your scaling is going to be based off of getting higher tier units, which are going to be easier to do if you have just like really high quality heroes with good equipment on them, and those are generally the easiest like big scaling tools that you can get early on in the game right now.
He is pinned, so that's not the effect. Yes, I know. Berserk. Good. I don't want you to actually be Berserk. I'd like to actually control you. That seems relatively useful.
This is very fascinating. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody dispel Berserk with a Restore.
Well, they're not me.
Yeah, I also generally don't see people cast that. What was that? Unleash the Beast? Which spell was that you cast on that?
That was Unleash the Beast.
Yeah.
You just don't see people use it, I know.
It's very powerful, but it is very dangerous, so it's exciting to see.
I feel like that's like a bird. You're like, yeah, you're gonna die for that.
Not necessarily. I think we've seen some really exciting things, like Zombie bringing his Tome of Beacon Arbalists and like one-shotting everything that have been non-conventional but powerful.
Berserk good spell because Berserk ignores damage.
It ignores the unit model loss once you get berserked, yes. But that's not as useful on single model entities like phoenixes and heroes and stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Although it does kind of make me wonder here in the if everybody's playing with Tome of Horde and Spawnkin, then Berserk is just like the best effect ever, right?
Why?
Yeah, that's a mood. Phantasm Warrior, why?
Why would you do this to me?
Alright, so WinSlaya is offering this first Slither Hatchling. It does have the Distracted for this turn, but it should clear by the time it gets back to Ninja's turn, so this guy isn't as threatened as it looks, and of course he's in the bushes. But if somebody goes over there to melee attack and clear it, then it could get picked off pretty easily. Obviously, NinJew is going to try to do his best to focus on the higher tier units as much as possible, but you really don't want to be just ignoring Slithers. Their damage output is very high, considering that they're low tier units, and these ones in particular have the crit off of Artisan Armaments and Empowered Beasts. Like, just a lot of potential damage there. But yeah, like if you're looking for things that are good for auto resolve, just make sure that you do your best to get your heroes as powerful as possible, as quick as possible, and from there, like auto resolves should just start to solve themselves, and you just like need units in order to keep your heroes going without taking too much damage on them. But who knows, right? A legend rank. Even just like a champion rank, if they get the bolstered defense and bolstered resistance, if they get it at champion, then that means that these Phantasm Warriors are going to be just like absolute nonsense. If they get exalted defense here, anytime they click defense mode naturally as legend right now, they give everybody around them bolstered defense. Same with the support units, they're going to give everybody around them currently on legend rank, they'll give them bolstered resistance whenever they click defense mode. But because a lot of the things that are in the legend tag on the new EXP schedule that they released on the dev stream, all of these tags got moved down to champion rank. That means that we might see a lot more defensive scaling off of support and shield units very, very quickly.
Why
That would make auto-resolve options, like, I think, better for everyone across the board, as long as you are careful at curating which tomes that you take. I'm personally excited to see how Dark works with something like maybe Warding and Tome of Faith, honestly, might be the path for Dark, because that gives them access to, you know, good frontline shield units and a pretty high quality, even though it is a not AoE option for their support units. And of course, like, the ability to heal things might actually be useful. Pre-damaging is generally better, but Cryomancy does not have a support unit on it, and I think you do kind of need them. I think you're, in fact, virtually forced to run a support unit early, but I think that's a good thing. Get as many extra EXP as you can, as quickly as you can, and support units do a pretty good job of that by topping units off at the beginning of fights. So what is NinJew gonna do about this Phoenix? Like, if he can just kill the Phoenix and stand on it, then the Fiery Rebirth ability is not a big deal. This is, we talked about that in regards to the undead, but by and large the ability to just stand on stuff is pretty OP right now, and I'm hoping we get a rebalance to that at some point in the future.
Guys back here.
I told WinSlaya that he should probably run the Storm Giant, but given that Phoenixes are animals and therefore eligible for the Empowered Beasts, if he can keep this Phoenix alive, it is a much better tool than a Storm Giant. But Storm Giants, with their massive electrical resistance, would also be very solid against this army, and they do electrical or lightning damage as well, so they would be pretty solid against Phantasm Warriors if they could engage. But they are a lot slower than the Phoenixes, so it might be a lot worse against ranged tools. We'll have to see how it turns out for them. Let's see. Those slithers are moving up this way, sticking to... Oh, no, that one's going into the lucky clover to see if it can get an easy crit here. Nope. But he did inflict poisoned. Damage over time effects, like, yeah, all of the units are going to be a lot more bulky, therefore they're going to have more time for the damage over time effects to impact things, but with everybody at 150 HP or whatever, 4 damage per turn just does not sound like it's going to scale particularly well. So I'm personally right now pretty bearish on the options for damage over time effects in the new build other than decaying, but to be fair, that kind of describes my feelings about damage over time effects right now. But it also means that, like, the new form trait that we saw, where you can get strengthen stacks from taking non-physical damage, might actually be good for, like, using pyromancers to strengthen your own dudes by fire blasting them. We'll see how the strengthen stacks interacts with damage over time effects, but if you have 150 HP, you would gladly pay, like, you know, what, 2 or 3 HP per turn in order to guarantee a strengthen stack every single turn. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Alright. Kill me, NinJew.
Don't do it, NinJew. Think of the children, NinJew.
Start with this.
No.
Oh my god.
Don't do it.
Yeah, the fact that these Magelocks are not splashing is actually, like, really bad for NinJew, because otherwise he would be able to just obliterate some of these units.
I see 5 stacks of bolstering, and you centered resistance. Got it.
He used the Scry spell, which is, yeah, pretty big on the marked.
Yeah, I thought about using it myself. I probably could have gotten more value if I'd done that earlier instead of finishing elimination.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like, wait, are you on Tome of Scrying also?
Maybe.
What? Get out of here.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Don't do it.
No
Why are you
distraction.
critting? Oh,
Bummer.
was that a crit? Yeah, it was crit. Why are you critting? Stop that.
I mean, he's got fortune stacks, buddy. I don't know what you want me to tell you about that.
It's gonna happen.
That is the way that effect works. Okay, so the Zephyr Archer is not able to do outrageous amounts of splash. I don't know, man. Like, if NinJew kills the Phoenix but then doesn't prevent the Fiery Rebirth, then this is like a really giant amount of resources for nothing.
Crossbow hero was a mistake.
Yeah, I think I've had a similar these skirmishes where, oh, this crossbow hero's got all this great gear. Why is he doing, 8 damage?
Yeah, 8 damage. I mean, it's... I don't know, like, at least it gives him ways to penetrate through your protectors, I guess? Right? Yeah. That crossbow hero would be great against protectors.
Let's go with that.
I'm also really curious to see how things like herbivore work in the new build, just because like defensive scaling is going to be probably focused more towards like tough like defense and resistance rather than towards pure HP. Because pure HP, of course, like gets a lot worse when you just stack it into outer space. You'd much rather have the defensive scaling of like 150 HP and 10 and 10 on defense and resistance than like 200 HP and 0 and 0. And so it might be that things like healing and herbivores get a lot worse, but it might also be that they just get better if you're naturally going to be focusing on defensive scaling anyway.
I don't know, this terrain gives me some tough choices.
Yeah, this terrain is rough for both players, because you guys both have lightning weapons.
It's better for me because I've got all this range stuff, so having all of this, like, slow down zone is more advantageous for me, but it does make the decision-making quite a bit more complicated.
Yeah. So if NinJew doesn't do anything to deal with this battle mage, this is an incredibly bad setup for him. Like, Thunderbirds can not only knock everybody out of defense mode, but also blast everybody around the room, and therefore have, like, really good engagements if you're careful.
Yeah, you are.
But it looks like NinJew is probably going to have the tools necessary to take this Phoenix out right now. And that's a good start for him, taking down that tier 4. The only question is, can he secure it? Did WinSlaya bring Ritual Cannibals, actually? Does not look like WinSlaya brought Ritual Cannibals. So if he doesn't have any way to interact with corpses either, then once the Phoenix goes down, if NinJew just stands somebody on top of it and WinSlaya doesn't get to blast it out of the way with a repositioning spell and it dies, then the Phoenix is, like, effectively secured dead indefinitely.
Well.
Okay, so it looks like he's going to go over here and just try to take it down with his supports. That's pretty reasonable. Oh, that is dangerous. Yeah, that's not where he wanted to go. Now he's going to have a harder time standing on that. Hopefully he can still filter somebody through. I think this unit might be able to get around, because this guy, don't think... Maybe it is in defense mode. No, it doesn't look like it's in defense mode. Okay, so he should be able to still get through.
I calculated correctly, then later miscalculated. My original calculation was perfect, though. Everything's fine.
Great.
My original calculation that I did not commit to was perfect, therefore, no mistakes were made.
I committed to it, and then after I committed, said, oh no, I did something wrong.
Oh, yeah, like you just... You realized that you'd messed up, and then realized that you actually were fine, and that you're yeah.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, animals are always a fun army. I think that in terms of animal scaling, like this looks like it could also be a very friendly patch for animals, depending on how Beasts works with the new summoning change. So if you missed it, they said that in addition to requiring Town Hall 2 and above in order to recruit higher tier units off of like your natural tomes, you also have to have a Wizard Tower 1, not a Foundation, a Wizard Tower 1, in order to cast a summoning on like a level 2 unit. If that means that you have to have a Wizard Tower 1 in order to roll the tier 2 beasts off of Tome of Beasts Summon Wildlife Animal, then of course that's like a meaningful nerf to beasts. But if on the other hand, the converse is true, that you can still like randomly hit tier 2s before you get that Wizard Tower 1 down, that would be a meaningful boost for nature.
A downside.
No,
Yes,
right.
do Magelocks need a downside? Probably not. I think pretty obviously the amplified arrows thing is a bug, considering that it has been, I think, if my memory serves, it's been addressed a couple of times, sort of like the Inquisitor shot. Yeah, like animal armies are really cool and accomplish really fun things. Like I'm really looking forward to seeing. Oh my god.
No. Why?
Okay, well here we go.
Oh. All right, yeah. WinSlaya is, I think, done here, because it went. Not only did Zombie have a solution for that Phoenix, but the solution for the Phoenix being Dark Ritual.
What have I done?
Now he's down to tier 4, and his tier 3 is being surrounded and mauled. This is yeah, NinJew, you gotta listen to WinSlaya. You can't just kill him in 3 turns again. It's gonna be embarrassing. That was a really good turn for you.
These guys, they're frost resistant, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Ah, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Bro, he's on Tome of Warding. He's got Phantasm Warriors. You think he's gonna like go that way and not cast the magical wards or whatever? Everybody's gonna be frost resistant. Wait a second.
So frost resistant.
Fascinating. NinJew, can you explain to us your second hero not having a mount? Was that you just didn't want to be weak to
yeah,
pole
I did
arms?
explain that earlier. Okay,
Oh,
okay, so here's what
okay.
happened. So if you look at this hero's like super special, so this hero is he's a support hero tech, right? He's given me a whole bunch of stack buffs.
Yeah.
His special ability is Ward Breaker, but since he was a support hero, I initially gave him a staff, which took away his mount. And then I looked at Ward Breaker afterwards, and I realized, oh, that doesn't apply to the staff.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give him a bow and arrow so he has a repeating attack on that, which is fine, but I forgot to put back on the mount after that.
Yeah.
Guess I'm probably just gonna need to blow this thing.
We're just gonna pretend like it was anti-pole arm tech. I'm okay pretending that.
Yeah,
That was very smart.
Against all of WinSlaya's pole arms, I cleverly didn't equip the item on my hero that makes him move faster.
Yeah. Well, like WinSlaya has a 1x Ancestral Warden, so you were afraid of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it has the jump, so like you never know
Yeah.
when it's gonna jump on top of my stack buff hero.
Exactly. Anything's possible.
Let's get rid of these guys if we can.
NinJew, can you also confirm for us when it's your turn that precision training is actually like at least claiming that it's adding accuracy for your units?
Good question. Well,
Because like
okay,
it has
so-
occasionally like been broken where it's not actually adding any accuracy.
Hold on a second. Okay, so you started 90%.
So I don't know. It's tough, Anthony. Like, it really depends on what you're looking for out of single player. I don't typically spend a lot of time watching other content creators on YouTube. I imagine the same is true for virtually all content creators, like especially the ones that work harder than I do, because I don't work that hard and typically do not have enough time or effort or spoons required to watch a lot of other people's content. And the people who work harder, I am sure, can do the same thing. But yeah, Professor Pone's right that if you do single player manual battling, then you can do literally anything. But if you're looking for like very, very high, like if you're looking for people who are playing on very high difficulty levels on single player, I haven't heard anything about that. Like brutal manual battles is a lot easier than what we normally play on for single player and multiplayer, just due to the consequences of playing on brutal right now. That might be different in the new world, but it might not be. My assumption is that the AI is probably still going to have some issues on brutal, and so it's probably going to remain where it's like if you can just survive the first 30 turns, then you win the game pretty easily. And it's tough. It really does depend on what you're looking for on single player stuff, because I know that a lot of people are doing like that sort of like more casual niche, because that is where a lot of the viewers are for Age of Wonders 4 and like video games generally. But like I don't play Age of Wonders 4 that way. I play Dungeons and Dragons and Baldur's Gate 3 that way, but I don't play Age of Wonders 4 to have fun. I play it because I'm an insane person. I mean, I do accidentally have fun along the way, but I play it like a child taking apart a toy. That is my approach to this game, and I haven't encountered that on any other single player so far. But if anybody has any recommendations for like, you know, single player people who really dig in on the mechanics and whatnot, then, you know, please just post below in live chat. I'd love to hear more about it, especially if we can like pull them in for multiplayer. And like I am planning on doing some more single player streams. Like we did the single player stream I don't know, like a week ago, where we did the construction cube bug. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago. Walker, you just like you're not paying attention. These days just kind of like flow through your fingers. But the construction cube bug stream was really fun, and I'm planning on doing a lot more single player streams once the DLC drops, because I'm like cards on the table. I'm probably gonna end up playing the DLC like at least 100 hours the first week that it drops. So if I'm going to be playing it in the middle of the night while Eileen is trying to sleep and get prepared for work, I might have to be quiet while streaming, or at least, you know, whisper while I'm streaming, or close the door. That'll probably work. I think I can close the door, right? But yeah, we're gonna have to do some single player content then, just to like see actually how big these deltas are in terms of gameplay, and like what the meta really looks like.
Wow, what a jerk.
See, yeah, he was that was very smart for you to not have a horse, because otherwise your guy would be dead here, right? Magical, yeah. Yeah, cultures, if you're trying to play on auto-resolve only, Anthony, you are going to be playing a really, really broad variety of difficulties, because some factions are just a lot better in auto-resolve than others. Hopefully we see a bit of a change there with the new changes for Reavers and Dark. I'm more bullish on, because I think Dark is closer to already using the tools that the AI knows how to use. And then of course I do think that the generic economy for Dark is generally better than the generic economy for Reavers. But it's tough. I think if you want to make all cultures work on the new patch, you might want to just try warding. It does look like Phantasm Warriors are going to be borderline unbeatable against anybody who does not have access to lightning damage, and so that's probably a good tool for you to play around with if you're not already doing that. But that is something where like you can play with it now and get 4 HP per level up on your Phantasm Warriors, or you can wait you know, 3 weeks and get 10 HP per level up, and, you know, 10% extra damage on Elite and Legend, and extra defense and resistance. It just, like, the way that you play the game and the style that you play the game is probably going to be meaningfully different, and exploration via doing way too many and an unhealthy number of streams in a brief period of time is definitely my flavor. And then, of course, you know, I'll, like, play the game 11 days in a row, 9 hours a day every single day, and then just be like, all right, peace, I'm gonna go play Baldur's Gate 3 now for another 2 weeks. Classic Walker. So far, we haven't seen, like, a lot of really good value come out of these battle mages on WinSlaya's side, but, you know, if he can just tear through the few remaining frontline pieces that are here on NinJew's side, because like, so far he's done a very good job of pressuring things. Like, NinJew has 1, 2, 3 mercs at, like, mid HP and a couple of Phantasm Warriors there, but the front line for WinSlaya is still mostly in pretty reasonable shape here. I haven't heard anything about AI improvements, but because they're going to be adding just, like, tons of HP to everybody, I expect that auto-resolves will probably become more favorable to the player overall, because the player is probably going to be pretty good at doing their best to keep their high-quality units alive, the ones that have the experience points alive. And once you do that, it should be pretty easy to get to good auto-resolves, right? If you show up and your tier 1 units have 95 HP and the maps only have 70, you're going to have a much easier time keeping everybody alive and rolling, which might make people feel like the AI got worse, but it's mostly going to be just on the map where that is the biggest issue, because the other AI, like the AI empires, should also benefit in the same way, which might make them better on Brutal, actually. Like, if the AI is capable of not only keeping some units alive, but then benefiting from them, they might have an easier time when there's just, like, way more experience points available, which is what you get on High World Threat. Wait, your own golem blocked movement? Yeah. NinJew, why did you do that? Why did you move that guy there?
He's so good.
He's good. Very, very, very evil.
Alright, now I will reinforce these guys.
99% poisoned.
This guy behind.
Oh, WinSlaya still has a Rallying Blessing on his ruler.
My friend.
Bro, no, WinSlaya, you gotta use the Rallying Blessing, dude. This thing does good work. Maybe he's saving it. That's probably it. WinSlaya is saving the Rallying Blessing for reasons. Or he used it on turn 1 and we're on, like, turn 5 now. Triumph, I know you're not watching this because only, like, 6 people are or whatever, but somebody should make it so that if you're the third person watching a manual fight like this, that we can actually know what's going on. Like, give us the combat log, please. This is not too hard.
You come forward.
Like, I think in terms of other things for AI improvements, Anthony, because they've, like, reworked the way that the Magelocks operate, I expect that the AI will just get better at using them there. They might not actually ever want to adjust the ways that ranged units try to get close before they shoot, because if they just stay at, like, 45 accuracy range, then they're actually, like, not very effective as combat units. I think you really do want to be taking 65% accuracy shots or above most of the time. And so, like, rather than just saying, all right, we're going to make the AI for ranged units, air quotes, better, they might just have to give everybody more accuracy, which is kind of what they've done here with like, changing the focused aggression to make it so that ranged units, or that melee units can actually inflict marked as part of their natural attack. 60% is a lot worse than 90% on Dark, though, and I think that the tools generally for Dark in their early game look more promising than the ones for Reavers, which is why I think the Reavers are probably still not very powerful, but we'll play them at least once just to confirm. Because if they are good, they're going to be good if you can probably find, like, an early Spring Fairy. So maybe we play Banner Lords and Wonder Architects. That could be a combo that works for Reavers, potentially. Just kind of depends. Just kind of depends.
Okay.
It's gonna hurt, isn't it?
We'll see. I hope it does. It'd be unfortunate for me if it didn't.
I agree. Let's do that.
Oh my god.
I guess I'll start by doing
This is a
this,
gigantic AoE out of the Zephyr Archer, but you'll note that right now it's not doing a
You
lot.
should do that,
Ooh,
definitely.
that's a great start, though. That is a really great start. Let's see how it works from here. Okay, eating corpses on NinJew's side. Yeah, that's gonna be
Really
tough.
I could like
Take out that tier 3.
that mercenary that's just standing there. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, my movement really screwed me over. Hardcore.
Bummer, dude.
I guess it kept me further back, which is maybe okay. I don't. You've got good ranged pieces still.
Yeah, this is interesting because this is not going to be just like, oops, I cast Infectious Insanity 3 times and then the fight's over. You guys have a lot of resources that are grinding it out here.
Actual tools.
Actual tools.
Hey, and NinJew,
Yeah, what's up?
no primal summons yet, huh?
Yeah.
I resist the temptation, so even if I lose, I feel like I won, you know?
Uh-huh.
Personal victory.
So WinSlaya, what are you getting out of Primals then? A sense of
My-
accomplishment?
My Rise of Fury is actually not terrible, considering I do a bit of magic damage.
Yeah. Are you just working on infecting people with diseased?
Yeah, if I can, and then magic damage to finish them.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works. But I'm not too sure if it's going to hold the line on this turn. He's still got a lot of actions.
Yeah. And, you know, like, nobody has gotten way ahead on morale so far either.
Yeah, I have a slight advantage.
You have a slight
but,
edge.
Like we'll see. He'll get, I think, at least one more unit here. Probably 2 or 3.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, these guys have some
Before I do
options
anything
that
else,
hurt.
I need to see what this is. Okay.
No! No!
Oh, I got some
Unacceptable.
Good shit here.
No. stop
Yeah.
that. Quit.
Yeah.
No, I was doing so
So
well.
here, NinJew has managed to summon a Snow Spirit off of his elemental summoning, and because of course the Snow Spirit does get the amplified arrows, unlike the poor Magelocks, we have a freezing burst here with effectively 100% chance to freeze 2 units next turn off of WinSlaya. That's really brutal.
Any other elemental, I'd be pretty
And then
happy
it goes
with my position.
straight into freezing
Now,
phase
I'm
after
not
that
so
too.
sure.
Oh my god, WinSlaya's in so much trouble. That was really rough. Oh my god.
No. Now I can lose. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm allowed
yeah.
to.
Now you can blame it on the luck.
I mean, I will.
Now you're
Yeah.
allowed to.
Now he's allowed. Yeah, tougher skeletons do look really interesting. Like, I suspect that probably you're still going to be leaning in on just utilizing
that's very
Whiteborn
bad.
heroes and
Exactly.
necromancers
Do
if
it.
you're going in
Yes.
that direction off of necromancy.
Yes!
Necromancy is probably going to remain
Go!
best with
Wait,
stuff
what?
like
Do
necrotic
hold on a
magic
second.
on battle mages. But, you know, we'll see how it
no,
works.
Why couldn't you
Oh,
defense moded that? Gosh, darn it.
rough.
So little
Those
damage.
dragoons are crazy.
What happened?
No, I don't have like any melee enchantments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was just a melee strike, huh?
Yeah, he's got seeker arrows, amplified arrows, guided projectiles, and literally no melee stuff. So that checks out.
I can't believe you're gonna get me frozen.
Like if skeletons though do get that extra giant amount of HP scaling, and they are, you know, still very cheap, and resources are more scarce because you're trying to funnel them more into more higher quality low tier units, and having access to, you know, a bigger town hall and a bigger wizard tower even earlier, assuming that we're not playing with the construction queue bug, then like I think that there is a space potentially for skeletons, but I probably am still going to avoid them and then see how the tier 2s work out, because now something like Soul Overflow looks disgusting. Tome of Souls may have just moved up a lot in terms of its
that's
stock.
a lot of damage. Did you not hear me?
Jeezy Pete's. Oh my goodness.
What was that?
That was, I think that was just a generic. Oh my god.
That was
no.
Yeah, that was lightning or chain lightning.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. And now this unit will die. No.
I don't think it was even a boosted chain lightning. You didn't have any extra damage here for that. Was just pure lightning weakness on WinSlaya's side that did all that damage.
Oh, and of course you have blight resistance, and I forgot to take the blight weapon off of my hero. This is freaking grand. Grand. That Slither had a job.
Over here.
Just spread that around more.
Yeah, this is gonna be rough for WinSlaya here. The lack of any AoE dispel or dispel.
Stop.
This is a really nice and fun little mass rejuvenation that he can pop off. I don't know, man. Maybe he should have done that before engaging, just to get some regeneration stacks rolling on folks.
No, I
really wish I could get
Regeneration. Ridiculous. Mass rejuvenation's so good.
Oh no, that's the wrong unit. Okay, good thing I noticed that.
No, stop.
I'm actually also kind of surprised that NinJew went for freezing tier 1 and tier 1, considering that he had 100% success on potentially freezing the Thunderbird here.
I knew that when I saw that damage.
And the Thunderbird is not a joke. This is a lot of damage that it can do something like this. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's the sex number. He can do the sex number.
That unit really should have had like no health. It's...
Perfect.
I blame it on my stupid assistant.
I blame it on the juice.
No, it was definitely my golem. He blocked the Slither who needed to come forward and shoot from a different position so that I couldn't take a double action. That would have done like 50 damage. It was a flank with the Slither that... Oh man.
Yeah. Oops.
Why?
Actually, does WinSlaya have any AoEs that he can use, or like chain attacks that he can use? Because if he doesn't, I don't know, bud. Even if he can clear these Magelocks or these mercenaries next turn,
I know.
This is tough.
I know.
We'll see how the morale is structured during his turn, because if he can get up to crit range on this Thunderbird and just crit once, then he can kill it probably. With just a triple attack and a reasonable, like, 1 crit on that, but we'll see. We will see.
Let's see, retaliate twice. Oh, it's super growth. Oh yeah, no, that's logical.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna shoot if I was you. Alright.
He killed the clovers! You monster!
Yeah, seriously. How could you?
Yeah, early game for skeletons are pretty miserable because they are way too fragile. But because it's not impossible, Anthony, to like do some really fast scaling on terms of HP if you want to, and you're lucky enough to get some of them to stick around, I think there is potentially a space for the skeletons. It's just that like we need to see if they have tools necessary to make it past the first turn, or the first couple of battles, well, as they get up to the silver rank probably is like a good break point. But also, like, if they get extra ranks as Magic Origin units off of the mana channelers on the new patch, then that could actually be a good option too, right? If they just start with 10 extra HP.
It's very rude.
Yeah, Phantasm Warriors they're immune to like most of the most common damage over time effects and things like that by virtue of being ethereal, bleeding, diseased, immobilized, and poisoned all gone. Very powerful.
That killed?
Yeah, wait.
It slipped away?
I don't know how I feel about this, but okay.
Yeah. It's frozen. It's fine.
Action economy.
Sure, that's probably where we go with this unit anyways.
So WinSlaya should absolutely just throw Diseased down on this Merc here in an effort to do some extra elemental damage on it. It's unfortunate that this is the weakest of the ones remaining, but I think he does need to do a little bit to start balancing his morale out. He's got basically all of his morale right now so far from a couple of kills, a couple of allies lost. Why does this thing not? It's got only a one plus from rally.
Right? Very strange. I don't know.
He's gonna start working up towards crits, I think.
What was your other T2 tome? So I know you've got the Tome of Scrying.
So he's got Tome of Scrying. He also is it possible he took 3 tier 1s? Is that possible? No, he's got siege magic. He's got artificing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got the artificing, like the golem assistance anyway.
Okay, hold on. Why did you?
What did I do? I don't know. I can't even
I mean,
remember anymore. It was a decision I made a while ago. I did it. I did the
what are
thing.
you getting out of that?
He got
something somewhere.
2 extra little dudes to stand in the way of things.
Crit chance. No? Crit chance.
Oh, he did get that for the. Okay.
Crit chance is pretty good, I'd say. Getting that. For
Well, I mean, we're comparing it to Mighty Meek, and we're saying you're getting the crit chance also on your Storm Scale Serpent and the Poison Serpent that I killed. I guess also on your Ancestral Warden.
Look at this.
And of course, you're getting a little bit here and there from Siege Magic, like on your Thunderboard.
Yep. So he went ahead and diseased that guy.
The Golem Assistance makes sense then.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It looks to me like WinSlaya is gonna have some serious problems fighting back against the tools that NinJew has remaining, but he does at least still have this Evoker around, and if he can keep this alive until it hits Electrifying Arc again, this is actually a very powerful thing, especially if you can get up to Mire Crocodile's Boom 5 on it. Being able to distribute 3 stacks of Diseased really quickly around the board is very strong.
That's 48.
How could I not be? He had such a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, he got into Dartmouth, and you killed him like a monster.
Dartmouth, wow.
Yeah, specifically Dartmouth. And only Dartmouth.
Really?
Rejected by every other college in the country.
Every other college.
Dartmouth
They're like,
threw him a bone.
it's the only place that accepts undead Americans right now.
Wow. You're gonna really get out of this by that much HP. Alright, let's do this attack.
What is he looking at? I think he's looking at this. Yeah.
Why would you grace twice with a 90%? I hate you. Oh, I hate you.
It's to... I mean, you can still kill it with other stuff, right?
Yeah, but that needed to be efficient, and it's not.
Yeah. The new ruler looks really powerful, Anthony. I would say that out of the things that I'm most excited about, the Eldritch Sovereign is definitely one of the tools that I'm most excited to be playing around with. Like that and the rank rework were the things that like I wanted to talk about the most in regards to the dev stream reaction stream. Just because like, yeah, the Eldritch Sovereign doesn't look ridiculously overtuned, but it does look very powerful, and because of its potential ability to have a world map casting gap over the Wizard King, it might be worth it to make that exchange, like lose the over channel ability, which is very, very strong, in exchange for just like a different tool set for auto resolves that are generally more favorable early on, because I'm pretty sure that the Insanity is not an AoE, but I don't think it matters considering that they reworked Insanity now. So if you missed it, Insanity is going to be sort of like the way that it works now is effectively just a berserk where it will just attack whoever. Berserk specific is a little different because berserk will preferentially attack enemies if it's within range, whereas Insanity right now will just attack anybody. But on the new patch, Insanity is going to be sort of literal opposite of Berserk, where if it can attack one of its old friends, it will. And so I don't think it matters as much if the Insanity is AoE for early game auto resolves. If you get an entire turn off of your opponent where you get the Insane, you get them to waste their turn in that early auto and leave them at -5 defense and -5 sundered resistance, the unit is borderline dead. Like, it's gonna have some serious issues just like staying alive for one more turn after that. And of course you're gonna have the massive action efficiency of taking away not only that one extra unit, because it's normally like a one turn for one turn thing, but also the value of like stripping retaliation attacks and reducing the value of the other models remaining on the enemy side of the board. I think the Insanity and the mind control effect both look like they'll probably play pretty well in auto resolves. They'll struggle, of course, against anyone with control loss immunity, which means that you're going to have to be really careful about how many Lightbringer fights you take early on. But that's usually the case when it comes to auto resolves. If you're just like walking straight into Lightbringers and Nymphs without plans, it can go pretty badly pretty quickly if you're not prepared. And I don't think that's going to be any different on the new patch, regardless of who you were playing with. NinJew, were you able to confirm or deny that you were actually getting extra accuracy off of precision training?
My Magelocks definitely were not.
They definitely weren't? Okay.
Yeah, I've looked at example and mapped it out. They're not.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is one of those bugs that has been floating around for a little while that I don't know if they're going to be fixing anytime soon, but at least fortunately outside of Skirmish it usually doesn't come up.
The game saw that I was going to win using Magelocks, and it went out.
Decided to throw WinSlaya a bone. Yeah.
There WinSlaya multiple bones.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Makes for a better fight. That's it. So Anthony, it looks like you're not going to lose EXP for mind control effects, because mind control effects are not going to allow you to actually recruit them at the end. It's only going to be domination and subdue, as far as we know. As to whether or not those cost you EXP remains to be seen. I'm hoping that they get EXP, but given that the most recent communication we heard from Triumph was on that note was a couple of months ago, somebody said that was working as intended because you get the value of being able to potentially recruit the unit after the fight. I do disagree with that, but it is important to remember that if you have a Harrier, or just like, if you're playing on Cryomancy, then your support units can effectively one-hit KO everything in the early game, and that's also not particularly fair if they're getting experience points, like the full amount from doing the subdual. So that one's a little trickier, but mind control on Eldritch Sovereign, and not like the issues potentially still surrounding Reavers, Eldritch Sovereign should have a pretty easy time getting experience points, I think. Like I'm fully expecting, based off of the tools that we've seen and what we saw out of the dev stream, that Eldritch Sovereigns are going to have pretty reasonable times on auto clearing, and therefore won't have issues keeping up on world map casting early. I also really want to know how much the Eldritch Influence 2 actually affords you in terms of world map casting and Imperium. I'm assuming it's probably just 4-15-15 again, because it's sort of like the way it works with Ancient Governor on Dragon Lords, but we'll see.
I've got a single one. Very surprised if something might win.
I think you're in a better position than you think you are.
Stop.
Everybody is going to have gigantic amounts of negative resistance here. Oh my god. So WinSlaya has to now decide during his next turn, is it going to be worth it for him to try to kill this Snow Spirit? Because the Snow Spirit is going to only have one turn left on it, but it is going to have the Freezing Phase. Freezing Phase at a 30% chance is not a particularly meaningful chance to freeze anyone, but given that I'm going to guess a lot of WinSlaya's units here, are at negative status resistance because of all the sundering, that this is going to be more than a 30% chance to freeze. If you can get it up to 50% chance to freeze on 3 or more units, it might be worth it for him to to just eat it and kill it here, even with the massive investment. It's tough. This was a really good roll for NinJew. There's no way around that. Although to be fair, it looked like he was already ahead based off of the engagement with the Phoenix and the fact that the Phoenix turned into just a decaying zombie for NinJew. Very tough. I don't know what WinSlaya could have done once he saw the Dark Ritual on NinJew's side, but I think realistically, if WinSlaya had been more conservative in his approach and utilizing his battle mages, he might have been able to pull ahead. He had a lot of tools that would give him a ranged advantage if he wanted to leverage them, especially against triple action Magelocks, considering. Yeah, so I think Anthony, the ability to rank up summons with Mystics looks really promising. It kind of depends on like how people address things like Tome of Beasts, right? Like if Tome of Beasts can still summon tier 2 spiders without access to Wizard Tower 1, then that's really good for Mystics, because Mystics are going to be in a weird spot where at once it looks like their economy has gotten a lot better, but they're going to have issues where they don't have like a great production economy and they don't have a great draft economy, and because the requirements for creating both units as well as creating summons are now a lot more production heavy, like anyone who doesn't have natural tools for scaling those up, I think might fall meaningfully behind. But if Mystics are capable of making, like tier 2 animals out of the Tome of Beasts before they make Wizard Tower, then you can take paths that, start on Beasts, get some really high quality units really early on, and then take something that addresses the production and draft problem later, like Tome of Enchantment or Tome of Zeal, and then hopefully snowball from there. But it's tough because like we can only speculate based off of the information that we've seen so far, and the information that we've seen so far looks promising, while also not so far addressing the biggest issue with Mystic. That might be addressed by just the overall meta changes in regards to the way units work, right? If you're capable of keeping your Arcanists alive in 3 fights right now, the payout is basically non-existent. Whereas if you're capable on the new patch, the Arcanists look like they might get a lot scarier in terms of their own survivability and therefore their ability to keep damage going. It's tough. Like, I think the right and reasoned thing to do is to assume that the game is going to be some amount different, and then dial in your Bayesian priors based off of what you're actually seeing. I'm so excited. Two and a half-ish weeks, and then we get to do some real evil science for sure.
Nice.
Don't do that.
Bro, oh my god, what was the crit chance on that?
I think all of them were crits, dude. What? Unacceptable. I was supposed to.
Oh, that doesn't push forward on that, man.
I mean, it did, but then he died and then slip away.
I was hoping the drive back would let me move forward into the hex, but not.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I think that actually would have been better.
I think it would have worked if there wasn't a unit directly behind, because I think even if you hadn't killed that, it wouldn't have displaced it because of the warrior.
No, I know. I was hoping that the kill meant that I would be able to displace it. But...
Gotcha.
That crit. Alright, so this guy's gonna get to do his freezing phase. It's just gonna happen.
I think out of all of the Mystics that I'm like most excited to be playing around with, it is actually genuinely the Attunement Mystic, which is like kind of insane considering that is the one that's supposed to be the closest to the one that we currently have. But the Astral Echoes being fungible for world map casting points means that like the Attunement Mystic is almost certainly a lot better, especially if you can take something that can do like a strategic layer spell or anything like that. So I don't know know about magic necessarily being more prominent. I think that more HP for everything means that you're going to have more consistent and predictable auto-resolve results, hopefully, because it does usually produce that sort of effect here whenever we're playing around with, just more durable units on things like Industrious and Barbarian. You usually don't lose as much as when you're playing around with Mystics and your Arcane Guards die in 2 turns of combat against a Bronze Ancient Wonder or whatever. But, like, generically, the damage scaling on melee units is usually easier to accomplish than the damage scaling on battle mages, and especially if people start running warding more than they are right now, then magical damage will take a further hit. But it's all of this is speculation. At least so far, WinSlaya has kept both of his heroes alive, and he still does have his Thunderbird, although, if he can keep the Thunderbird alive for one more turn, another Thunderclap is really, really powerful.
That's 40. How much health you got? 87.
Looks like WinSlaya is doing some back of the napkin math to try to figure out if there's a way for him to kill something here. I'm gonna assume that he's trying to find a way to kill either this guy or this guy, because I don't think that WinSlaya is going to be trying to go in on this Snow Spirit, considering the 1 turn left. But as we discussed, the freezing phase is dangerous. Yeah, so with more HP, right, exactly, Anthony. So more HP means that more defense and more resistance is going to, like, they all of these things multiply together, sort of like in Pokemon, where, like, Shuckle is a really, really good defensive Pokemon, except that it doesn't have enough HP to support that. And then, like, Snorlax is a generically really powerful defensive Pokemon, but because it has relatively low physical bulk compared to its HP, you just take more, like, damage per hit. And so that means that, I think realistically crowd control is probably going to be the most important thing, considering that we'll be fighting against a lot of durable units with comparatively low status resistance. And so you can lean into battle mages that affect things like damage over time, because the units will be on the board for a longer period of time. But damage over time effects are, like, mostly useful right now for reducing enemy damage output by reducing enemy model count. And if all of the models just have 5 or 10 more HP per model, then dots are going to be a little worse, and that means that, like, generic battle mages are probably going to be a little bit worse. But we don't know. we really don't know. Battle mages benefit more on a percentage basis, as well as ranged units benefiting more on a percentage basis from getting 10 HP per level, right? Like your natural protectors here on Mammoth Mounts are going to have 80 HP base or something like that, whereas your battle mages, your Arcanists, are going to have 45 HP base, and so if you give them 50 extra HP, that's a lot more meaningful.
I don't know how many dudes that guy would have frozen, really.
Yeah, probably.
But we want to point out that you just spent 3 unit actions preventing that. So if it was going to freeze 3 or fewer units,
yeah,
not worth it.
Similar.
No, it's also damage too.
Yeah,
I was considering.
But it is also that, like, if WinSlaya wanted one specific unit to be unfrozen next turn for strategic reasons, then by killing it this turn, he does secure that action next turn, right? If he has, like, abilities on cooldown that he wants to use next turn, things like that, then he has to kill it here, even if it is inefficient from an action standpoint. Because it's not just, like, the total quantity of actions, but the total quality as well.
Sure, but I just want to point out that he was in a bit of a Sophie's choice there. And
yes, he was in a bit of a Sophie. He did not have a good way to deal with that Snow Spirit. Either way, he was in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he had a specific plan that required killing it, but
oh yeah, for sure, Four-Way. Like, this is also really good for, presumably really good for things like Houndmasters and Lightbringers, where they're just, like, traditionally very, very low HP. Did they make it so that the hounds that come off of the Houndmasters get the same rank? Because if they did, then that's also really good for Houndmasters. If they don't, then, you know, Houndmasters coming with like a 25 or 30 HP extra unit kind of doesn't impact combat that much. If Hounds are stuck at 30 HP and Warriors have 115, then you're mostly only getting the value on the Houndmaster itself, not the Hound. But that's another one of those things where, like, that's not what they're playing with in the stream, so we don't really have great information on how it actually works so far. Does anybody like watch a lot of single player Age of Wonders 4 and like know if there's anybody playing on really high difficulties? Like that would be it would be really interesting to see if we could pull any of those folks in on multiplayer. But like I'm just it's so disconnected. The Age of Wonders 4 community is pretty small, so it's hard to coordinate them. Yeah, it would be really nice if they benefited regarding hounds, and they actually might already get the ranks on their hounds. I just don't know. Like the last time I played with Houndmasters was months ago outside of Skirmish. Although, you know, hey, Horde might be oppressive in the new meta. We will see.
Not a grace.
He wanted it to crit so bad that your dude would explode and then kill your Dragoon also. That's what he wanted.
You know, it's a real shame you don't have that Thunderbird against this Mercenary with 0 resistance and -1 lightning resistance. That would have been helpful.
Yeah, you're right. What did I use? Yeah, you're right. That probably would have cursed me. Why am I hurting myself? Other now. Take that. Get that Legion on him. So we can afford to eat
Yeah, morale is still looking pretty good for the NinJew over here. That's pretty bad for poor WinSlaya. If you can't keep the morale on these guys like low enough after they kill 1 or 2 things that they can start critting again, it's really dangerous. Yeah, I've meant to want to check out Fableheim. Like I think I might have actually seen if he wanted to play multiplayer with us a couple of months ago, but I should probably reach out to him again. Because like I think there are a lot of single player people who if they wanted to make the jump to multiplayer, I think that they probably could. Like our group is still relatively casual in terms of its approach. Like we try to play at a high level, but not meta like slaves as much as possible. We do weird things that I hope single player people will appreciate.
Oh, I put you into it. Great. Okay. That was me. I did that.
Did he get to shut down? Okay, so it looks like WinSlaya at least did get to shut down one of the Magelocks here, right? Phantasm Warrior, Slithers. Here's one Magelock. There's the Zephyr Archer. There's the Dragoon. Yeah, WinSlaya got it looks like a Magelock off the board. That's pretty good.
The hexes are right there.
Oh, does this Thunderbird actually have the Fury set up? Ooh, it does. So if WinSlaya does do an AoE Thunderclap here, he can get a bunch of diseased on everybody, and then maybe follow it up with like an Electrifying Arc and do a bunch of damage. Does this guy also have the... No, this guy only has 2 stacks of Fury, so it can't do the auto disease on everybody. Well, this doesn't look good for WinSlaya, but it actually still doesn't really look unwinnable. If you can get a good turn next turn and do just a billion damage with the Thunderclap disease and then Evocation. And does he have any other battle mages here? Guys, this is going to be online too. So he could potentially triple battle mage AoEs into this blob if this blob is still here. But then you start entering into the realm of if you use the Thunderclap first, you do reduce their resistance, but you also open yourself up for moving everyone out of range for hindering Blizzard. Yo, what's up, Cosmic?
Oh, you're not allowed to...
So here we're just in like a skirmish between WinSlaya and NinJew, and it looks like we're coming to the end. WinSlaya does have some late game tools, like he has this Thunderbird charged up on for potentially dropping in a Thunderclap.
100% just need to defend.
It's not even gonna get the it's not even gonna get the diseased on the Thunderclap. I don't think the Mire Crocodile did what it needed to for poor WinSlaya's build. I'm not certain about this, but he's gonna have some issues. Yeah, this is PvP. It's specifically the skirmish mod, so we just like clicked a couple of buttons, got some armies, and then threw them at each other. Which, you know, mods, I understand that they're not available on console, so they're probably not gonna like displace any vanilla stuff that we do here on the channel. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I think playing on skirmish mod has been very healthy for us accidentally, because it's given us a pretty good appreciation for like low tier units that we normally kind of just say poo-poo, these things don't matter in like a regular game of Age of Wonders 4. And all of that stuff might be the best stuff in the game now. We will see. We will see. I suspect that probably it's going to be somewhere in between. You know, like have everybody. The top right speed in auto combat. Yeah. But like basically, I think that tier 2 and tier 3 units are now going to become the gold standard, and that tier 1 units are going to help us enable those. Black Arrow Gaming. Oh, he does the entire games. Okay, so he is like a patch behind. I'll see if he's interested in playing with us. That could be pretty cool. Like just the more I want to get us to the point where we have like 6+ people regularly available, so that we can do 3v3s. And getting Garacian in has helped make that more of a reality. But given that like the WinSlaya and Amokdara don't really get along, we're not playing with her very recently, and White Knighted and a couple of the other people that we regularly played with they have jobs. We haven't had any skirmishes using the higher tier units yet, Celcio, just because we've been playing with the rules that we, you know, like formulated for a potential tournament, maybe. You know, I don't want to get people too hyped up about that, because I do want to get us to at least like other people other than just NinJew and Zombie and myself, and WinSlaya like playing every Saturday. If we can get some of these other people in, then I think we can get up to 8, and that's like kind of all we want. But at higher tier units, like if you start moving into that area with a bunch of higher tier units and higher tier tomes, it means that like turns are way more explosive most of the time. It also would of course mean that you would have, you know, more status resistance and more control loss immunity, and therefore better tools to fight back against infectious insanity and mind control and the like. But it would also like make a lot of strategies very difficult to operate in skirmish mode. We might go up to like tier 4 tomes and tier 5 units for something, you know, maybe like some other kind of maybe we'll do that next week. I don't know. We've done a Pauper game once where we played with exclusively tier 1 and tier 2 units, and that was pretty fun. So doing a skirmish with higher tier units as a one-off could also be pretty cool.
Does it make your life difficult enough?
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a right call. I think you made the right call there.
Yeah, WinSlaya is just in a lot of trouble because both of these big battle mages just got shut down by one mercenary, and now he had to actually, you know, use the instead of being able to use electrifying arc to keep exploiting this, he had to just shoot a merc.
12 damage.
That's pretty rough.
If I graze both of them, that's 6, right? Alright, so yeah, no, even if I graze my double shot from here.
Oh no. Is WinSlaya trying to like remove this thing with... Oh, of course, this guy, because it doesn't...
Yeah,
why doesn't he just...
WinSlaya and his
WinSlaya.
Must.
Yeah. he does have a magic missile on hand also.
I mean, yeah, I know.
Could use an all I
didn't need to use it yet.
Alright, so is WinSlaya gonna do... If he's gonna do this, then I think actually he probably wants to go with Hindering Blizzard first and then blast everybody out of the way. Looks like he disagrees. That's not always a bad thing.
Which is potentially problematic.
I'm so glad you didn't use that to just blast.
That's very fascinating, Anthony. We'll see if we can implement on multiplayer. Like, a lot of the people, I think, coming from single player are used to being able to grow their economies via doing manual battles versus the map, which is not something that is good for multiplayer, both for a timing as well as like a game balance standpoint. But if Black Arrow is like not, if he's mostly doing auto resolve onlys, then I think he's going to make a very easy transition over to multiplayer, and that'll be really exciting.
Ah, curse you, so close to dead.
Yeah, this is almost enough AoE to bring WinSlaya back into it, but I think it is still going to be going for NinJew here. I think WinSlaya needed some like strengthen stacks here on these guys, and I'm assuming he's just like entirely out of those as an option, and he just does not have the strength to chew through this tiny front line remaining. Yep. Ooh. Maybe he can get on this Zephyr Archer. No, he's going to be blocked by zone of control off of these two probably, so the Protector can't slip through. What? Where is he going to go with this guy? Where is he going to go with this guy? Oh, is he going to just run here in defense? That actually is very reasonable. Just defend next to that Magelock to shut it down. Yeah. I think that's good.
Alright, your turn.
Okay, so tools remaining for
I threw,
NinJew.
didn't I? I inexplicably threw again, didn't I?
I don't know, man. Like, this is a good fight. It was. Yeah, that was a very solid park.
Yeah,
I think if you had just like, do you have any ways to get strengthen stacks, WinSlaya?
Yeah, unleash the beast.
Okay. Yes, unleash the beast. Okay. Yeah, like I think if you had a bunch of strengthen stacks, like in some way of an AoE there, then you actually might have been able to win just that turn off of doing triple AoEs into that group, but you would have needed a bunch of strengthen to get there.
No, I think I played pretty inefficiently on certain turns, but I'm pretty happy with how this has worked out. Like, this is close. Like,
yeah, this is really close.
Easy. You got a dark ritual off. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it was made a little bit. It was made a little complicated in terms of how we should address it because of the Magelocks not splashing, but I think that kind of made it a more interesting and fair game.
Yeah. I think
maybe it's working as intended. That's it.
Really hurt.
Yeah, that would have been.
They would have probably.
It would have been very good. You were at 60 damage per Magelock shot at one point there, NinJew. I'm sure you were aware of that, but just for folks at home, the Magelocks were doing competitive damage with the Beacon Arbalists, that's very impressive.
They have been consistently out-damaging the Zephyr Archers by, like, a lot, and I think that's even taking into account the bounce.
Yeah, Zephyr Archer, I think you probably needed, like, one other source of extra damage arrows on there, because they do benefit a lot from getting, like, also cryo arrows online or anything like that.
Yeah,
but then,
I
you know,
those
you're looking at a different build.
Problems.
Yeah.
These chaplains are a large part of why I had that damage, and taking the chaplains means I also really want to take Tome of Warding, so I have an efficient front line, and the warding is my answer to primal summons.
Yeah.
So just too many things going on.
Yeah. You can't bring everything every single time. There's only so many tomes you can bring, specifically 5. WinSlaya, have you
model unit that has a full HP?
Wait, you talking about his protectors?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like vigor.
In my butt.
Like, it still isn't
Yeah.
really over. If you can't do anything about the protectors, then once your front line is gone, you can just park them next to your range units and click defense mode over and over again, which will work. But we'll see. We'll see.
I really misplayed on my leader equipment. I really needed to spec this guy for, either I needed to pick, tier 2 weapons, or I needed to spec this guy for leadership stuff instead of a damage build that doesn't do damage.
Yeah, if you're specking a bunch of warfare damage things, you do want to have better than a tier 1 weapon.
I thought it'd work out better than this, but lesson learned.
Yeah. Warfare heroes, even in like regular games, are the strongest, but they are the most dependent on equipment. And so if you're going to run naked or mostly naked, then you just need to be a battle mage or a support hero instead, because they are really miserable with tier 1 weapons. And even on tier 2, they're pretty unimpressive. It's when they hit tier 3 that they just become disgusting. WinSlaya, have we tried to contact Fableheim or potentially, who was it, Black Arrow Gaming for jumping in on our multiplayer?
You did at one point, I think.
Okay,
both
cool.
of them you contacted. You can go through your old messages, but I think you
Yeah.
contacted both of them and they weren't too interested. I did see one or two other people while NinJew's taking his turn. Let me go through my messages because I think I saw a channel or two recently where I was like, oh yeah, no, they could be interesting. We could try and invite them. They got a small enough channel that they may just want to, you know,
They might want to do it for fun and potential growth.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, it would be cool if we could get some of those single player folks to migrate over, because it's been fun playing with Gracian.
Indeed, I agree. I hope I haven't discouraged him too much with the last MP, the war.
No, we're gonna be on a team next time, and we're gonna take revenge on you. And then you're gonna say, revenge for what, Walker? You're the one who always tells me secret alliance and then abandons me to go hunt down infestations. And then I'll say, that's exactly what I want you to think, and then just turn around and leave.
Who did I saw Reddit before I started watching the stream the other day? Okay, lazy Grouse. I don't know what that means. They posted 10 months ago, like a little video. I was like, yeah, maybe if they're still going. By them, I thought there was more than that. Description on this one. Who did you? I can't remember now. I was like, oh yeah, that's the way I should be doing my stuff. They got like a bunch of views. There's somebody who had like 20k views on a short. I don't remember their name. I don't think it was that channel that I just mentioned, but it could have been.
Yeah.
Suika posted recently. That's
Suika does. I've seen some of Suika's stuff on Reddit. We could see if Suika wants to play with us.
I think that would be a smart one to invite.
Yeah.
Participating in that space. They probably see you about too. All right.
Yeah, like
I was looking away.
NinJew won the game. Just
No.
like uninstall it. You're done.
Stop.
Actually, I like legitimately though here WinSlaya, you could still win this. If you can just like keep pinning all of his ranged units, then NinJew actually could be in a lot of trouble.
Did I crit that? I think I did. Stop.
If only you had a support unit capable of healing your guys, that would be pretty good.
If only.
If
No.
only.
Evokers.
We don't need healers where we're going.
Yeah. Kill on you, I think.
I think his plan here probably is just like light up this Dragoon, do his best to put this protector defense mode next to something, presumably the Magelocks yet again. Looks like he's gonna pick up that.
Crits.
Oh my god! It's one HP, literal one. The natural way.
That's what I love to see. When
But like, you didn't do the math wrong there. You just didn't roll enough crits. So you just need to get better at rolling dice. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got
Yeah.
it. I'll work on that.
And of course, WinSlaya does also have like diseased stacked up on a lot of these guys, so this is potentially a lot more damage than the math is currently telling us, because I don't think it's taking into account that this guy is going to be diseased on the second and third. Yeah, 23 and 23. So yeah, it was not taking into account the extra disease damage. But that also kind of means that like there isn't really an efficient way to kill this. Because I think WinSlaya absolutely needs to put this protector just next to these things to defend. He cannot let this Magelock just shoot with impunity, or of course you walk away from the Magelock. That is another way to deal with it. If there's nobody who's close enough to blast. Yo, what's up, Session? So here we are in a skirmish mod between NinJew and WinSlaya, and this is like the very end of this very brutal battle. It was Primals versus Reavers, and it's still kind of not entirely clear to me who's going to win, considering the pieces that are available to both players. WinSlaya has successfully eliminated the entire front line for NinJew now, and although NinJew does have some pretty high damage units, unfortunately the Magelock does not actually benefit from amplified arrows, which NinJew was counting on, and both of his heroes are on tier 1 bows, so I actually think that although WinSlaya is trying to convince himself that he is not going to win this game, I legitimately think that there is a non-zero chance that he's got it here. He's got some issues still in this, like the couple of turns remaining, where he does not have any support units and has not had any support units the entire game. But he's going to get Mass Rejuvenation back on next turn, and that's sort of like a support unit if you squint. And then because it looks like the damage output here on NinJew's side is really concentrated mostly just on these two units. If WinSlaya can successfully navigate around them, yeah, I think he actually might be able to win it here. So we will find out. This is a very exciting late game. I was pretty sure that WinSlaya had just like decided to give up on the fight because he entered into that realm of WinSlaya where he was like, he made one mistake and then kind of tilted. You know, we've all done that before. But he was so sure that he was dead, and things just don't look that bad for him on this board, if we're being honest.
Or I could restore to keep this guy in the fight longer. Probably. Yeah, restore.
So the frontline units for the Reavers in the late game, because this is skirmish, this doesn't have a late game, right? We're just clicking some buttons and then fighting. Right now, Reavers are in a very, very weird space. But again, fortunately, the game is changing, and Reavers are getting a pretty meaningful update. Right now, the frontline units for Reavers you're probably going to be able to rely on are going to be Entwined Protectors and Glade Runners. That's my guess for what a Reaver build is going to be trying to utilize on the new build, just because they want the durability on the Entwined Protectors and the range on the Glade Runners, but it may be the case that you can just get there with cultural units and cultural units alone, depending on the size of the map, that the late game might be just legendary rank mercenaries and Magelocks on turn 25 or 30 or whatever. It's very difficult to say, but like right now the late game units for Reavers, it mostly looks like whatever you can get off of the map and out of the board, because you mostly don't use Reavers units at all right now. You just supplement them with things from elsewhere, and that could be very, very different in 3 weeks.
I think that's okay.
I think he could have done this where he takes the blast on this guy and inflicts diseased, and then shoots with the evoker. But it doesn't really matter now if he kills NinJew's ruler or not, because NinJew has already expended all of his casting points, and his ruler is not a particularly powerful unit from what the pieces that they have remaining really look like. This is the most dangerous, and then that. Does he have? Oh, he does have Bless, so this is gonna be pretty dangerous actually. Blesses this, and then goes with this into here. That'll do a lot more damage than WinSlaya is going to be able to heal off with the Mass Rejuvenation, but unless there's something else coming out of the board here for NinJew, that damage is not going to be enough to kill things. Yeah, I think it will actually. I think the Mystic culture. So we're going to be playing around with a lot of them before we do any tier lists. Both because I think everything is exciting, but also because it's, I think, irresponsible to make the tier lists without having played on the new stuff. And we do not have access to the press copies, so we're just going to be doing a lot of streaming to see how the game really plays. But the new Mystic cultures do look pretty interesting. Potentially, as I highlighted in the stream that I did yesterday. If you missed it, we did do a stream about the dev diary. But I think that the potential looks interesting, but I am pretty bearish on it unless we get confirmation that the casting AI has gotten a little bit better, just because like the casting AI is not fantastic in the game right now, but the other two look really good. Attunement, although it looks to be the same like basic Mystic caster kind of option that we had at the beginning of the game, like right now, that's not true, because Astral Echoes are so different. Because Astral Echoes can be used for world map casting, you can do really fast world spells if you're on Attunement, like just dropping tons and tons of lightning torrents early on. Yo, what's up?
We didn't hear back from the other players that had expressed interest in playing with us, right?
I don't think so. Like on the Discord, you mean?
Yeah,
let me double check.
At one point, right?
Okay. At 1:30. Oh, Gracian. Okay, at 1 o'clock, WinSlaya Gracian messaged you and says, "If WinSlaya doesn't check his chat soon, I'm going to perish." So I'm gonna guess that Gracian was trying to talk to us at some point, and then Alp/Akashire said you just missed our message, but that's okay. Like, we can, if they're still interested, we can pull them in for next week. That shouldn't be too difficult.
I spared him. I did it.
But like the Mystic Attunement, it's not just about getting the value off of the Starblades, which although they've made Starblades like not cosmic damage, which I think actually makes them nominally worse in terms of their flexibility. Being able to spam lightning torrents or blizzards very early is incredibly powerful, and can absolutely create an economy all on its own if you have the mana and Astral Echoes to sustain it. So we'll have to see how the attunement works there, and then of course like everyone's over the moon about summoning, simply because you're going to be able to get not only evolutionary summons going really quickly, but also if you can just get like a couple of silver Phantasm Warriors early, I think you can probably just use summoners to clear the entire board without any issue. And so like I suspect that Mystics are going to be a lot better on the new patch, but I don't know how anyone is going to hold a candle to Barbarians, honestly, unless they do something to nerf Ritual of Alacrity. Then I don't think it would be responsible for me to put Barbarians as anything less than S++. Like, if units scale based off of experience points the way that they are, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Barbarians are really monstrous. Yo, what's up, Altron? Are you the from Discord? Are you Akashar?
Damage when your slithers were wrecking shop in melee.
I'm not terribly sure.
What were you guys asking about? The slither poisoning?
Protector not hitting as hard as I thought they would.
Oh, yeah.
It takes 80% stat to do some real damage against that.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of damage tools here remaining on NinJew's side. Long range defense. So if WinSlaya wants to just get more consistent damage on this, he can just move forward one tile. This is okay. Wait, how far can these Magelocks shoot? They can shoot to here and here, but they have crazy low accuracy.
Game, though, mad respect to chaplains. They don't see enough use.
Chaplains are really good when you have like a couple of units that you want to juice into outer space. They're pretty bad when you're trying to interact with an AoE thing. Like, they're a lot worse than some of the barbarian support, for instance. War Shaman is generically better if you have like a flatter damage curve and strength curve, but the less flat that you have and the more concentrated you are, the better chaplains are. Bless is disgusting on dragons.
I mean, chaplain also having the status effects plunge is very nice.
Right, for
I mean, I was able
single
to afford
targets.
To not take I was able to not take an nymph this game. Which
Yeah.
is pretty nice for me.
Yeah.
Now, I think the biggest problem chaplains have is, unless you're going to use them, there's really no reason to take Tome of Faith. And
Yeah,
most
it's pretty
chaplains
bad right
are
now.
not so much better than racial supports that you're ever really going to want to take that just so you can say, I want chaplains. I took them here because I don't particularly like overseers, and they really didn't work very well for what I was doing. And having ones is nice, but like, this is kind of niche, right?
I think I might need this guy.
Yeah, the fact that you have outrageous amounts of healing in the mid to late game, I think is probably the if there's anything that's going to get you over the top here against WinSlaya's nonsense, it's going to be the fact that you have support units and he doesn't.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure WinSlaya wins.
I hope so. I sure do.
It's tough. It's tough because this does look like it's going to be really close.
No, after this turn, everything I have is going to collapse.
Yeah, if he hits, he's gonna be forced to take some like 65 to 80% accuracy shots, and if he gets like a statistically normal distribution of those shots, then I think he can win here. But anything can happen, right? Triple graze on a 90%. You can do it, kid. The fact that he does, WinSlaya does still have his Thunderbird is also really impressive. Let's see where WinSlaya puts this Protector. I suspect that he's probably just going to come around here, park next to the Zephyr Archer, and then maybe just defend, honestly. Although, if there isn't ranged coverage over to here, then he can just attack.
They can do, like, okay amount of damage. And also his range units are, like, blasting holes in me. Meanwhile, I've got a couple of key units that can do damage, and...
Yeah, WinSlaya won the frontline fight, and that's generally a really, really big deal in terms of pacing. Does not matter that he picked NinJew's ruler there, considering NinJew is definitely out of casting points, but... You know, if he can get the morale here on NinJew's side low enough to get them into fumble chance, then that is actually really good for the survivability of the rest of his units. Who is he shooting at with this? Who is he trying to shoot at with this? These units are definitely too defensively oriented to get good value here. That was dangerous. I don't know. Let's see where he goes with this thing. Yeah, no. WinSlaya, don't do this. No, WinSlaya. He's gonna just leave a Thunderbird there to get blown away by Zephyr Archers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He should have enough to walk here.
Using support units as, like, meat shields at these, like, very final regs of battle is always one of my favorite plays.
Yeah. And they're really good defensive meat shields, too, because of the warding bonus. Just a lot of extra magical resistance that you're getting on these guys.
Yeah, they don't have as much HP as, like, actual tanks would do, but, like, when you're in these kind of dire straits and you just gotta scrounge together what you got, they can be a wall.
Yeah.
Not for very long, but they can totally be a wall.
They can. Indeed. Alright, I threw away a Protector, but this seems fine.
Okay, so I think WinSlaya's thought here, presumably, is that because NinJew isn't going to be able to, probably not going to be able to kill this this Thunderbird in one turn here, that it's okay to just be positioning it here. But I'm assuming, okay, no, NinJew is gonna pass on it. Yeah, that's it. I don't see how NinJew can win it if he's not going to be able to take out the Thunderbird this turn. That's 60. Maybe NinJew takes the shot on.
Do it that way.
I don't know who he takes a shot on here though, because he takes a shot on an Evoker and he doesn't take any models off, and that's just like a wasted Magelocks. So yeah, all right, I'm willing to call it. We'll see if NinJew has any way to fix this, but I suspect that WinSlaya's got this thing done. So Session says, just played an AI game with a Necromancer focus. I'm playing on normal, but the AI kept throwing 3-4K armies at me. So yeah, like, Session, how are you approaching the Necromancer focus? If you're going to be playing around with Necromancy in the current game, then you actually want to be pretty limited when it comes to utilizing skeletons. Skeletons right now are just a waste of your research and souls and all of that stuff. Mounted shield tier 1s are, I'm gonna guess, not only be more viable, but I'm gonna guess are gonna start venturing into the realm of oppressive, because mounted warriors are like already one of the best units in the game.
Yes.
But like, if the mounted warriors, and for that matter, like phantasm warriors, although they aren't mounted, are just gonna have outrageous amounts of HP on top of everything else, they're going to be really good. The one thing that I guess we can say that's nice to balance out all of those mounted units is that plus 10 or plus 15 HP doesn't make as big a difference if you have 110 HP than if you have 70. So mounts actually might not be as oppressive as they feel, but because mounts can also give you stuff like, you know, fewer unit models, and eagle mounts only cost 3 now. You know, we might see eagle mounts or mammoth mounts or elephant mounts just being on everything. We will see. We will see. Anything is possible. Yeah, bone dragons, and I think even going back Cosmic Coat in Session, if you want to get good value out of necromancy, I would recommend pretty strongly to just get like 1 or 2 necromancers early on off of necromancy. Get a Whiteborn hero off of animating a dead hero from a free city. That way you have only like one thing for the Necromancer to initially target during the auto resolves, and then as you move forward into Tome of Souls, you can pick up Corrupt Souls, and then if you move in, as Session saying, Skeleton Dragons, Reapers. So fog units are not undead. If you want to use Living Fog, then you want to build something entirely different. Tier 4 Living Fog benefits the best from just having more things that buff it up that do extra damage, so that way they can just ignore all defensive scaling on the other side, kill everything in just 3 hits, and move on with their life. But that precludes relying on a lot of Necromancy tomes earlier on. Tome of Oblivion is really more of a, like, cold/dark associated shadow tome than it is a necromancer associated shadow tome. You're much better off with Tome of Cryomancy than you are with Tome of Necromancy, and like Tome of Revelry than Tome of Souls or whatever. But if you wanted to use necromancy, Reapers are great. Reapers are really, really strong, but they do require tons of souls, so you have to manage your soul economy really carefully early on, and only focus it on the tools that you need in order to survive, in order to get to those Reapers, so that if you show up at, you know, tier 4, and you can take Tome of Reaper and immediately summon like 4 or 5 Reapers, you'll have a massive power spike that you should feel, like even against 3, 4, 5k AI armies, as long as you have a sufficient number of Reapers and a sufficient number of things that will support them, you should have a pretty good time both in autos and manuals. Yeah, the Whiteborn strategy is the best way to use Necromancer early if you're going to use it at all. It's so much better than using skeletons.
Oh my god.
For now. But yeah, skeletons are just... It's not even if like you can use them as meat shields, it's because of the way experience points works. If you are just bringing a 45 HP skeleton that's gonna die immediately and do nothing, you're just sacrificing experience points on your heroes for potentially slightly less damage on them, and that's not a good trade-off that you want to do most of the time. Like Skellies, you're just better off saving your research and souls for the better necromancy stuff right now. Yeah, the Whiteborn thing is really good. So Session, basically just take a necromancer as you know, a research off of, you know, regular research things. If you have souls, what happens is you kill a free city. You kill the free city, the hero from that free city hopefully goes into your crypt and not your prisons, so that way you don't have to build the prison cell to kill them first. But if you've killed a Free City hero, you can animate them using souls. When you animate them using souls, even if you do not have the Whiteborn technology researched, it doesn't matter. It will automatically give those heroes the Whiteborn tag, therefore make them undead, therefore make them targetable with necromancers for things like haste and resurrection. And if you only have one necromancy unit in a stack, one undead unit in a stack with a necromancer, and it is specifically your hero, that hero will be targeted by the haste effect every single time because there's nowhere else for the necromancer to accidentally go, and it'll be targeted by the resurrection effect every single time because there's nowhere else for the necromancer to go. Although that one's a little more sketchy because sometimes I have seen the necromancers use that resurrection effect on just like getting a decaying zombie onto the board. But by and large, that is, I think, the best way to use the Tome of Necromancy early. Either that or just using necrotic magic and ignoring all of the stuff other than souls until you get up to the higher tier soul stuff. It's not just that like skeletons are also kind of anemic and fragile right now, but also that there are just a lot of tools that help you counter undead, especially in PvP. Less of an issue for single player, but there are fewer issues in single player unless you're intentionally creating them for yourself. What does NinJew have left here? I guess he could try to take out this evoker, but yeah, he doesn't have any damage left on his team, and there's a Thunderbird here and at least a hero.
Different builds here.
Yeah.
That's correct.
This this has been a really great game, as we mentioned, just a really, really great game. Although I don't see how NinJew has the damage left to handle this.
Yeah. Agree. I'm shocked that I beat you after last week. Last week you terrified us with the.
I believe I've already gone over why I lost this. I've got
the
excuse all lined
yeah.
up. I had it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, for me, like if you get any of the major race transformations remain on your Free City hero or whatever when you resurrect them using Whiteborn, which is crazy good.
No, I can't. If you get lucky, you can make your support stupid. But I wanted to hit hard with lightning, hit hard fast, and far, and I figured that I did need a support for that. Although a Scald wouldn't.
I mean, now that Scalds don't haste you, I think they are a lot easier to justify skipping if you don't think that they're useful for your build.
Yeah.
It's simultaneously good and bad that they don't have the haste anymore because they were really annoying, but like now haste is such a rarefied thing that it's scary. I like that. That is another one of the things that I didn't mention about the Eldritch Sovereign, but the ability to get very fast movement on an entire stack for 5 turns is potentially a great use of thralls if you can do it early enough. It just kind of depends on how we feel the thrall economy actually operates, but that is a really scary option.
At a glance, thralls seem really powerful and not too hard to get, so I think that may be a balance change pretty soon after release. That's my expectation.
Well, the thing is that, like, the delta between uses of the thralls is really big, too, though. Like, the clairvoyance spell is like, I think, a good break glass in case of emergency thing, but, like, if you're only getting 1 thrall every 2 or 3 fights, then you're probably not going to be doing that spell a lot. And there's, like, the spell for getting 200 extra knowledge or 150 extra draft, and that also looks good, but it looks like that's another one of those things where we'll have to see how it actually costs out, because that one I think was 3 thralls, wasn't it? Like, the haste spell I'm certain is 2, but there were some different costs in terms of the thralls, and anything that costs 3, if you're only getting them every couple of fights, that's a very long time to wait.
Indeed. Alright, NinJew, where's he going? Ah, yes, there. Just have start. Right?
Yeah. Didn't you even kill this if he just blasts it? No. NinJew can't even kill the other hero here if he just blasts him with a Magelock and the other support units. I think WinSlaya just kills this hero with everybody he's got, and then the fight's over. Yep, diseased. I guess if WinSlaya wants to be very cautious about it, he could move this guy back, but there's like, yeah, no need to. Done. And now, oh my god, and now morale is gonna start causing some fumbles and stuff. Even better.
And from here we just go. There. Actually, can I get further forward? Let's go here.
Oh yeah, duh. The right thing to do is just take this, if he can get there, is just take this hero and walk into Magelock range and stab him. That would be really rude, but definitely correct.
No, you're zoning controlled. It's the thing he doesn't.
No, I'm trying to figure out why your leader was allowed to shoot arrow.
Oh, from there, is Chaplain in defense mode? No, your Chaplain is not in defense mode,
Gotcha.
and he's facing the wrong way. Yeah, so there's no ZOC blocking there. Yeah, looks like WinSlaya is going in, and he's just gonna end this.
And instead of attacking, that's how you maybe regenerate yourself.
Oh, he's gonna restore on himself. Okay, sure. I don't think it matters because the Magelock's not gonna be able to fire either way this turn.
Do anything from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't kill any of these units, even if I did have a Magelock.
Thunderbird, good. I only needed one.
I needed to kill the Thunderbird at some point.
Yeah. I had
Yeah.
a lot of range off the Evokers and the Hero Wand Blizzard that I took, so it was a tricky
Yeah,
thing
you had
for you.
you had a giant advantage on battle mages, and then like engaged really aggressively and reduced your value there. I think that's why we all kind of weren't sure you were going to be able to win this in the mid game, but you had much better frontline pieces in the mid to late game, and I do think that was the thing that made the difference, right? That you had the ability to pressure NinJew's backline faster than he had the ability to support it.
Mm-hmm. Good job, WinSlaya. You did it.
You did it. You did it.
You made animals work.
Your mother and I are so proud of you.
Hey, that's good. I'm happy. That's
Oh my god.
I love the disease of that unit.
I mean, yeah, that one Thunderbird I think did the most value out of the diseased, but it also got to do like triple attacks over and over and over again, and oh boy. Oh boy.
I wanted to get into Magelocks before they got changed. And
Yeah.
the game denied it to me.
Fair.
'Cause he couldn't
Fair.
jump. I mean, it was surprisingly close. I think you jumping damage I would have.
No bounce.
Yeah, no doubt.
accuracy.
Enough.
Because think about how many times he did Magelock fire for like 50 or 60 damage, right? He would have splashed. He would have splashed probably somewhere between 60 and 100 damage off of his Magelocks, even after accounting for the percentage decrease. And if he gets that early enough to pick off in a couple of extra models, I guess the one thing that is nice is that you don't have any models to pick off, so maybe it wouldn't have actually made a difference. I don't know.
What are
Well,
models?
The thing was I needed to blast him really hard on his engagement turn because my whole deal was I outranged him a lot, right? And a big part of that was okay.
I mean, I don't think you did outrange him a lot. I think he outranged you a lot because he had like a colossal number of battle mages.
I had a lot of.
He had
I had
7
AoE
range,
range.
he had
which
2
is not that
evokers.
bad.
He had a
AoE
Thunderbird,
range is
and he
really
had
good
a
because you get
Wand of
forced down
Blizzards.
those, choke points. Like if
Yeah.
you only have so many hexes you can stand on without getting that ballast, the AoE at range I think is better than a really good Magelock shot, even though it was quite terrifying when you did hit them. I actually think like things like the Glade Runners work well on that map. Because they can just lock down areas with AoEs, or they can threaten that.
Like that's what the Zephyr Archer does. Glade Runner doesn't have the AoE, so he did have the AoE physical ranged, but the options there in terms of how much damage are going to be preferential towards Thunderbirds and things that do lightning damage right now.
Yeah, I
or
actually
magical
thought
damage.
those Dragoons would perform a lot better than they did. But I think them only getting one ranged attack before becoming a melee unit hurt particularly on that map. Particularly hard on that map.
It was... I was looking at the Zephyr Archers and the Dragoons and trying to figure out, like, hey, in this build, which one of these was I supposed to take 2 of? I settled on the Dragoons because I was thinking, like, oh, I'll probably want the extra, like, melee flexibility. But very quickly in that game, I realized, no, I was supposed to take the Zephyr Archers because these Dragoons don't have a melee, actually, in this build.
Yeah, on that build,
so having the extra, having an extra actual damage dealer in that fight would have been a huge game changer. Meanwhile,
also you're brave for the fact that not only are the Magelocks getting reworked, but I'm pretty sure I heard that Dragoons are getting their cooldown removed on their pistols, so they can do it every single turn.
Yeah, I didn't see
that.
That
Would be
that's really
a big
good,
deal.
Actually. I don't like that they can inflict distracted with that maybe every turn. If they take away the distracted, then that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
This channel, but then they've changed the interface. Why can't I?
I'll be upset about it when Reavers are meta. Then we can start talking about is it going to be too much for Dragoons to be able to apply distracted to one unit every turn.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go raid this channel. This guy looks like they're somebody we might consider inviting in the future. Blessed Heretic. I know you're heading off pretty soon here.
Yeah, I need to get grocery shopping actually.
Over here. But yeah, just so you know, there's another name, Blessed Heretic, that I'm raiding right now. I don't know if you're keeping track of the list anywhere, like in
I mean, not officially, but I probably should be.
Yeah.
Considering that I forgot that we already talked to Fablehive and Black Arrow.
I have a list somewhere where I think I was keeping track of that. I can try adding to it, but I'm gonna head off and hang out with family.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, everybody. So that's our skirmish stream for today. But we will be back tomorrow with our free for all. It's either going to be me versus Zombie, or it's going to be WinSlaya versus Garacian. We'll see which one of those big battles occurs first. But I think our plan is just do big battle, big battle, big battle for the next couple of weeks up until we get to the new DLC, so that way we can get that game
As usual,
done.
WinSlaya,
all right.
And don't quit Discord.
Oh, yeah, good. He left and just is still in Discord. All right, cool.
Yeah, he stay in Discord all day.
Last time, yeah, I've done that too, where I'm like, oh, great, we're done, and then I leave, and then I come back 2 hours later, and like, oops. All right, so I guess I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care.